All right. Yeah, I just wanted to do um, a video here about uh, my my live setup when I'm doing shows and when I'm playing at church. And this is going to be for all the sort of nerdy folks that that are into um, all this technology stuff, which I am definitely into technology stuff. It really helps to facilitate lots and lots of possibilities that just would not be possible. Um, so the heart of this is Ableton Live 10, and let's see, I also have another program that I use, Logity UMI3. Sometimes I'll use, um, sometimes I will use MainStage 3 just for some keyboards and stuff. Let me see here. Let's see here. But I'll tell you about that pedal in just a second. Okay, yeah. So this is my all stop configuration. Notice that all the controls here, and you can do all kind of stuff with this. So the hardware pedal is it's 3 pedals. It also has a 1/4" jack for quarter-inch female jack for a sustain pedal or for expression pedal or whatever, and that's what this stuff up here is. But I have that there because I'm playing bass or keyboard usually at the church. I play saxophone and flute, but usually only for offertory selections. And I've been starting to work in my Roland Aerophone, and I'll kind of show how that is set up a little bit later. But I've got all these different groups, so that my little 13-inch MacBook Pro, the screen size, so I'm not squinting trying to see all the stuff. I have it so that it's small enough to fit on the screen, but as big as I can get it to be able to see everything. So right now I'm at my home studio, and I've got a big HD TV. It's like a 47-inch TV that I'm looking at, and so there's more real estate. Ableton knows that, so it allows me to use all that. So then when I break out these things, I can see these groups. I can see all the stuff. Right, I have more space to do that. See, I still have more space. Let's see here, and I still have more space. Now there's not quite enough space to get all of that other stuff on there, but I have a lot more space there. So basically the way this works is, if you're going to play with production sequences, you have to have a click track. And I also have automated cues. So, and it's virtual me. I would do the count in, and the playback comes through channel 1, just like the click does. I prefer to use a MIDI click rather than using the Ableton Live metronome, which I think is better in version 10, which this is, but it's just not as flexible as using a MIDI click. So that's what I end up doing. Here are all the cues. That's audio, and then this is some other automation stuff that you can see. I don't have anything loaded there right now, but Ableton will allow you to sync with live video. You can control lights. You can control lighting with it. It's really a super awesome program, and it's really the only game in town for doing the kinds of stuff that I'm doing with it. You have 2 different views. You have arrangement view, That's this, and this looks like more like a usual DAW that folks are used to. And then you have this view. This is a session view, and you can see at church pretty much I'm all in the session view. Now, if I was doing a show where I wanted to have limited transitions and periods and all like that, then I would do it in this view. And I have a bunch of stuff loaded in over here. You can see it's kind of grayed out. That's because it's not actually active right now. It's not active until I hit that button. Now that stuff is active. But as soon as I go back over here and I hit one of these buttons,
1, 2.
As soon as I hit one of those buttons, then when you go back over here, you'll see it's grayed out again. Okay? So it's not on. All right. So here, I'll play a little bit of something, just of a couple things. Here's You Are Good, and I've got some acoustic guitar here. This is one of my contact library things. And I've got some horns here. And I transcribed all the horn parts out of the, what is it? New Season. That version of You Are Good, which has that reprise and everything. And I transcribed all that stuff. I transcribed that whole arrangement, vocal parts and everything. And so I had the horn parts. I use Finale 25. So I transcribed the parts, put them into the computer, and then the computer, the Finale 25 allows you to export MIDI. So I export MIDI and then import the MIDI into Ableton Live, and it knows. It's smart. It reads the headings of the tracks. It's encoded in the MIDI file, and so it knows what's going on. And then I just assign sounds that I want for each one. So that's kind of how that works. So here's a little bit of You Are Good.
1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go.
It's a little bit laggy acting, which is not usual. You can look up you can see how much processor is being used, but that's not really from Ableton. From the stuff I have running in Ableton, that's just because I'm trying to screen record and stream at the same time. Yeah, okay. So that's cool. Here's William McDowell when you walk into the room.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, ready, go.
Yeah, so there's that. And here's Shawn Mitchell, Joy.
1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go.
Yeah, and then I just touched my all stop button. You can see that works. If I touch it again, then you can see at the top there, it basically zeroed it out. Now Ableton doesn't recognize zeros at the top, so it's all ones at the top of the very first measure. Okay, good. So a couple things to notice. Over here you can see that channel 1 is all of the cue and click content. All of the stuff in this group right there, that's coming out of channel 1. You see all channel 1. You know what, this right here actually could come out of that group. I must have another reason for doing that. Then all the stuff that that we hear, that the audience hears, comes out of channel 2. So the audience doesn't hear the, count in and the click track and none of that. All they hear is the production sequence here, and then obviously the live elements, the band. And yeah, so I showed you something with the horn section, with some of this, some contact library stuff that's still MIDI, and that's cool. And here's my keyboard setup right here. So I've got 2 different keyboards, and one of the keyboards is a Casio Privia. It's a PX160, and I like those keyboards. The one that I have home is a PX350M. It's got more sounds and stuff in it, and it's a little, there's some menu stuff and some automatic stuff that's, not necessarily, it has a pitch bend on it and stuff like that, but they're essentially the same keyboard as far as the action and stuff. It recognized those. Okay, now if you notice, I have these set up right now. See, they're coming out of this channel here as 3 and 4, right? So I'm going to check that to 1 and 2. So that you can hear it. Yeah, it's a pretty wicked delay, which is not usual, but because I'm trying to screen record, that's doing that. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here for this aerophone. Now, something that I have set up for both of these, which I think is very useful to understand and know, is up here I have it, for some of these you see it'll say all ends, all channels. For these ones, but then you see down here it says auto for the monitor, and what that means is it'll only allow you to hear what's going on there if you have the record button enabled for that track. Over here, I have it set up to be in. That means it's monitoring all the time. No matter what, it's always monitoring. But it's listening for a specific MIDI instrument and specific channels that are set up so here's my contact library. Okay, so I have 4 things set up in here. I've got this fretless bass, I've got a Rhodes, I've got a string section, just a sustained strings, and I changed all of the key switches so that they don't work. I changed them outside of the range because I wanted to stay the same. And there's a piano, and then this is like a Moog bass, kind of like a Moog bass type of thing. And you can see that I have these channels set 4, 1, 1. So this one and this one will operate together necessarily. And then this is 2, and then this one here is 3. And so let's get rid of that. So if you look down here, it'll say, you see these right here, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, as far as where it's sending, if I open this up, it has lots of options. I have other things, that I could send it to. But I have it set it to send only to the contact 30, this 32 contact 5 right there. Okay? And there's 32 contact 5. And I have the group named keyboards. So all of this stuff is going out, routing out through external out 1 and 2 right now. Usually it's 3 and 4 because I have the keyboards going through a different channel in the in-ear monitoring rig. Okay. And I have the same thing set up for, so that's for keyboard. So I've got 2 different keyboards So I've got channel 3 and 4, this launch key thing that I have is a little 25 key thing, and I use it to play key bass. And then also, when I'm playing, the main harmonic content with a keyboard instrument, like piano or something. And then I'll have like a move bass or a fretless bass or something on top. But then also that thing actually can control Ableton. So it can launch the songs. It can select stuff. It can scroll around on the screen without me having to touch the computer, and then it can launch stuff. So it's a really, really cool thing. Okay, and then over here I've got this Aerophone, and then it's set the same way. You see, Aerophone is on. See, these are all Aerophone. It's set to monitor in all the time, and then I have some Omnisphere stuff, and I have some Contact Library stuff, and it's routing it specifically to things, and it's just these two right here which are going out of this Aerophone thing. So let me talk a little bit about the Aerophone. And on the Aerophone I've got, I don't know if you can see that, but this is the channel selector. I can go channel 1 through 16, what this is transmitting. And so when I'm transmitting 1, that's the sound that I get. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, nylon guitar there with some strings. Guitar. Yeah, so a tuba. Harmon mute trumpet. Yeah, and some drums, so that's pretty cool. One other thing I wanted to talk about is, I'm paperless. So I'm using an iPad Pro 12.9 inch. It's great. Yeah, it says the wrong time there. That's not the time right now. But anyhow, yeah, this is one of the tunes, and you notice I have some handwritten stuff in there. Well, I actually did that with an Apple Pencil right on the screen. You see, as soon as I touched it with the Apple Pencil, it recognized that it wasn't my hand. So that's very cool. The pedal that I have, the Bluetooth pedal, it's wireless, is iRig Blueboard, and I have there's 4 pedals, A, B, C, D. They're labeled. And A, I have set to go, and this app is 4 score, by the way. Okay, so I can go forward and backwards with my feet. Also, C I have set to do as a metronome, and it's not audible, it's just a visible metronome. And then D is a tuner. So that's pretty cool. I've been paperless for about 4 or 5 years, and before that I was kind of trying to transition into being paperless, but I have an unbelievably large collection of music on here. And 4 score is cool because it can access your cloud storage. So like Dropbox, Google Drive, and I can import any any PDF file or word processor file into here. So anyhow, this is a bunch of the songs that I have, and this is just a general set list. And what I do is I'll reorganize based on what the Sunday is. We've been doing What a Friend We Have in Jesus at church this month, so that's why that's closer to the top. And Let the Church Say Amen is always the benediction, so that's why that's always up there. But yeah, so it's pretty handy. And again, because I'm playing, I have to do stuff with my feet, so controlling, changing the page so I don't have to touch it. I can keep my hands on my instrument. And then also that all stop button, being able, because so the way that this is I've got some content that is a loop that just keeps looping, like a top loop or a drum percussion thing. And then some content is through composed. Now the through composed stuff will stop at a particular time. The loop stuff will go on forever. So I have to be able to stop that stuff. And I don't want to have to stop it with my hands. So anyhow, hope you enjoyed the video, and let me know if you'd like to know anything else about this kind of stuff. It's something that I've been, the technology thing has always been part of my music making process. And I tell folks, I got in the game for the toys, right? So it's a lot of toys. So anyhow, have a good one.